The next post-game show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight in Indiana, Caitlin Clark watching. And maybe she could have helped the Pacers' cause because it was all Cat tonight and all Josh Hart. Towns had 40. Josh Hart had 19 of his 30 in the second half. And the Knicks got great help as well off the bench. And they get back out of the win column, winning tonight 128-115. Great to have you with us, everyone, from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito along with Alan Honeywell is Zerbiak. Guys, Jalen Brunson played only 22 minutes, Alan. Picked up his fifth foul early in the third. Really didn't play a lot the rest of the way. Had his season-low 8 points, and it didn't matter. Knicks got help from just about everybody else. Including
Karl-Anthony Towns. Whatever we said in the pregame about him struggling to finish at the rim, throw it out. I mean, he just absolutely dominated this game when he's also going up against guys 6'8". He did exactly what a big man should do when the other team's big men are not available, is that you take control of the game and you dominate. And the stat to watch was points in the paint, because two teams that score a lot in the paint. The Knicks had 68 in this game. That's where they won it, Wally.
Yeah, they got a lot of easy layups. This Indiana team has been playing really good basketball. We talked about it, 13-4 since the new year hit. They did not look like a team that's been 13-4. Their defense, without Miles Turner, they had no resistance at the rim, couldn't get anything going offensively, couldn't create any mismatches like the Celtics were creating just a couple nights ago, where the Knicks really struggled to stop them defensively. But overall, this is a great win. When Brunson only scores 8 points. Karl-Anthony Towns steps up big. Josh Hart had really struggled against Boston a game ago. Put that one in his rearview mirror. Came out with 30 tonight. Just got whatever he wanted. He looked like the most aggressive player out there on the floor. Just wanted the ball more, wanted the layups more, and he willed his team to a win tonight.
Miles Turner out with a concussion, also a bit of a neck problem, and they really missed him trying to defend Karl-Anthony Towns. Look at Towns, 40 points, 24 in the first half. 12 rebounds, 5 assists. And Wally, Josh Hart with 30, 12 of 16 from the floor. That's a season high in terms of points for Hart. And Towns was especially important in the first half.
He was incredible. Like, he got whatever he wanted, and he's sprinkling in those threes. That thumb's starting to feel a little better. He made 3 threes tonight, but there's just no defense for him. They had no one on the roster that could match up with his size and his strength, especially. They tried Obi Toppin on him a few times. Here's Obi trying to guard him. That's not going to work. I can tell you that. I mean, Towns just putting it down, putting his head down, getting to his right hand, and just flexing all night long. I mean, a big-time performance by Karl-Anthony Towns. Imagine if they would have had him against the Pacers last year in the playoffs.
Of course.
It would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
So he was just, and I love this play. We're going to take a look at this at the wall. I mean, that is a grown man move right there. I didn't think he was going to be able to get that one up at the basket, but he just went go-go gadget arms and just threw it on 2 guys. I mean, that was big time. That
go-go gadget arms.
Inspector Gadget on us in the Wayback Machine. You talk about points in the paint. He was 11 of 14 in the painted area, right?
Yeah.
And Hart was 11 of 13. These two combined for 44 points in the paint, 22 of 27. So the efficiency and finishing in the paint at the rim the way they were, but especially Towns. This is what you do. With a 7-footer, they don't have one.
Yep.
And you take advantage of the size. It's literally what they did, and Towns was ready for this matchup tonight and absolutely dominated.
So Brunson with the 8. Mikal Bridges, by the way, only scored 6. So even more important that Hart goes for a season-high 30.
Yes, 30 points for Josh Hart. Now, all 5 starters have had at least a 30-point game this season. It just shows you the versatility of this team. And for Hart, it's not necessarily always been about scoring for him. It's about whatever the flow of the game calls for. And as Wally pointed out, with no real resistance at the rim, Hart was doing a lot of cutting and his usual stuff where he'll run the floor hard. Cat got a turnover here, and he led the break. Imagine your 7-footer leading the break and passing to your 6'4" guy with the finish. And then, of course, the extra energy he always brings on the boards, just his willingness to compete. But you're seeing here, again, him going and attacking the basket, him trying to get offensive rebounds and tips, no one blocking out, just not a ton of size on the floor for the Pacers. And so when you play as hard as Josh Hart does, you can take advantage of it. And you remember this from back in December around Christmas. Fans said not tweeting until Josh Hart scores 30. And Josh Hart replied, "That ain't my job, brother. See you on the other side." Tonight, it was his job. And it was very easy for him to get to that 30.
All right, guys, let us now bring in Monica McNutt. As always, she helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, got to mention the bench. Campaign, 9 points, 8 assists. Deuce McBride, a plus 25 with 15 points. And Landry Shamet, a season-high 11. Those three guys were key.
Terrific outcome from your bench productivity. And I can't do quick math. I know you got how many points that was in total, Han, over there. But let me say this. We talked to Cameron Payne for our post-game interview on the radio, and he said that the importance of going into the break with the right momentum. He was just impressing upon some of the guys as a veteran voice. You know, we don't want to look back and look at these two games and think, we should have gotten those when we come back from the break. And so the focus that we saw tonight is not happenstance at all, from Karl-Anthony Towns all the way down. I think this team understands that as we turn the calendar toward late February and March, it's going to be a hunt, y'all, in terms of getting seedings as far as the postseason is concerned, as the regular season turns up.
And Monica, you can't help but look at the standings and see that the Pacers had climbed right behind the Knicks in the standings. So this was an important win for them to get. When you watch Karl-Anthony Towns in that game on Saturday night, the Celtics really looked like a bigger team. They put a lot of big bodies on him and frustrated him. The Pacers didn't have any big bodies. They tried to throw as many guys as they could at him. But did you just see the biggest difference being the fact that he was just bigger than everybody else and he got it done in the paint?
I think that's a big part of it, but I also would chalk that up to mindset, right? I think anytime, y'all know as hoopers, you have an experience that is less than memorable, you'll say, there's nothing you want more than to get that taste out of your mouth. And so I thought the level of aggressiveness tonight from Karl-Anthony Towns is key number one. And then, yes, the matchup was certainly favorable. There was a moment in the fourth quarter, he settles for the little short jumper over T.J. McConnell, comes up short. The next possession down, same spot, goes to his left, gets, I believe, fouled, if not, at a minimum, finishes at the rim. And so I just think as he continues to calibrate where he can be most aggressive, he's done a great job tonight in particular of scoring in the paint.
Monica, Jalen Brunson, lowest scoring performance of the season, 8 points, yet his running mate and his roommate, Josh Hart, comes up with 30 big ones. How did he do it tonight?
In the flow of the game, Wally, in the absolute flow of the game. I mean, slipping back door, getting to the rim, second chance opportunities, going to the free throw line. Like, that was a quiet 30, at least until you look at the, you know, we're accustomed to being on triple-double and double-double watch, but you're like, wait a minute, this is the next guy that's carrying the scoring load because for a long time there, it was just Karl-Anthony Towns. And so I just love, and Josh Hart said this on his roommate's podcast, he talked about accepting roles, right? And now that he's fully clear on how to be a servant, as he says, to the rest of his teammates, he's actually having one of his better personal years. But it's not about his personal accomplishments. It's about being the best player he can be, being a star in his role. And he did that tonight for sure.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great trip home, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Knicks playing host to Atlanta. Hart, by the way, also had double-digit rebounds, 30 points. He had 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Tom Thibodeau's Knicks are now 35-18. Wally Wall and the coach's post-game comments coming up.
Got a technical tonight, too.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Let's dive into last night's matchup where the New York Knicks secured a commanding 128-115 victory over the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis. Karl-Anthony Towns' dominance. Karl-Anthony Towns was the star of the night, delivering an outstanding performance with 40 points and 12 rebounds. His efficiency and presence in the paint were pivotal in leading the Knicks to victory. Josh Hart's career night. Josh Hart stepped up significantly, recording a season-high 30 points along with 10 rebounds and 5 assists. His energy on both ends of the floor provided the Knicks with a much-needed boost, especially during critical moments of the game. Team effort and overcoming adversity despite Jalen Brunson facing foul trouble early in the second half. The Knicks showcased their depth. Miles McBride contributed 15 points off the bench, and the team's ball movement was exceptional, totaling 37 assists. This collective effort underscores the team's resilience and chemistry. Looking ahead, this victory marks the Knicks' 8th win in their last 10 games, solidifying their position in the Eastern Conference standings. As they continue this momentum, maintaining such performances will be crucial for their playoff aspirations. Thank you for tuning in to today's game recap. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with fellow basketball enthusiasts. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth analysis and coverage of your favorite teams. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's continue to cheer on the Knicks as they push forward this season.